So here is Marcus and Asia. Okay, yeah.
Hi, Marcus. Hi, Asia. Hi, Marcus.
Hi.
I mean, this is a smaller group, so I guess people can unmute and kind of say hi a little bit more. And then we'll get started on some questions.
Hi, Asia. It's really good.
Oh.
Really happy to meet you, Asia and Marcus.
And
You
then
as well.
I was gonna say, if you guys want to unmute, just make sure to chat me, and then I will unmute you, just so there's not too much chatter, like I guess scattered chat. I guess. But I guess we'll start. You guys know that. Oh, I don't think Eli's coming because he's in a show currently. But as you guys know, Marcus and Asia have been in the Mean Girls tour, and hopefully they can come back so that we can see them if you haven't had the opportunity to yet. And Marcus, you are a swing, right?
Yes.
And then Asia is in the ensemble as Sophie. Is that correct?
Yeah, Sophie Kawachi.
Yeah, I love the character. And so I have a bunch of questions for you guys. And like during this conversation, it's not just kind of a Q&A about their time at Mean Girls. It's mostly about kind of their experiences as Asian Americans in the theater community and just in life in general. And we just want to kind of focus on personal experiences and how being Asian American has affected us negatively and positively. And just kind of, it's an open conversation. So if you have questions, you can chat them to me and we will answer them honestly, and just kind of, you know, hopefully this is a great time for all of you guys. So first I wanted to ask you guys, like, tell us about yourself, kind of like what's your ethnic background, if you're comfortable sharing, and just kind of like how you grew up or anything like that. Either of you guys can go first, whatever is comfortable.
Ladies first, Asia.
Okay. Hi, I'm Asia Marie Kreitz. I am going to be 25 this December, if anyone cared about that. Anyways, so I am adopted, and my birth dad is Black, and my birth mom is Korean, and she was also adopted from Korea by my grandparents. So I was adopted by my grandparents, and yeah, I have a half sister as well. Let's see, yeah. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, so I grew up with them, and yeah.
And then
Awesome. I am first of all, hi everyone. I'm Marcus, and I was adopted from Seoul, South Korea. I grew up in like a rural area of Michigan. It was my parents actually just moved 2 days ago. They're moving to Santa Fe, so I'm gonna be like what's it called? I'm gonna be in like the good sun. I'm gonna get tan. But other than that, yeah, I am South Korean, and growing up, I grew up in like an all-white, mostly neighborhood. I didn't really have any Asian friends or friends. POC friends. I was pretty much by myself. So it was like a very big transition for me when I, you know, got to college and moved to New York City and met all these other Asian friends. It was like a whole new world. I'm actually living with one of my best friends right now, and he like kind of took me under his wing, and he's Filipino. And I remember when I first, because he like has done so many Broadway shows, and he thought I was so green at first. Like I moved to the city and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, we get our own hotel rooms, we get all of this. And he was like, yes, you nerd. He was like, we all get, and he totally took me under his wing. And it's so cool because I got to meet like a whole new world, and it was awesome. So yeah, that's where I'm pretty much at. And now I'm just so happy to even be here talking about this. So it's really cool.
yeah, we're excited to have you. I mean, last month we tried doing this event the first time, and like with too many conflicts, we unfortunately had to postpone it. So I'm super thankful that we can do it today. And I guess what I wanted to ask you guys, like, with being Asian but growing up in a white family, do you like did you miss kind of that community of being in an Asian family? Because I grew up in an Asian family. Like my mom is actually the president of the Bakersfield Chinese Women's Club, so I have like
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of Asian people in Bakersfield. And I guess kind of, do you think like if you were to have grown up in an Asian family, do you think your life would have been kind of the same or like completely different?
Mine would be completely different. I think that because I think being around the culture, growing up with it, already knowing the background, all this stuff, I think it would have just really just opened my eyes in a way, because I didn't grow up in that. You know, I grew up very, very whitewashed, until I was like in college or so, and then I kind of grew into myself and, you know, grew out of my parents' ways of thinking, and started to think for myself, and started to immerse myself into my culture, you know, the Black culture plus the Asian culture. And like I kind of like my aunt and my birth mom kind of like tried to get us into the Korean culture, and like we would go out to like get Korean food and stuff, but it would be super different. And I think it would be amazing to just like have, you know, that Korean family plus the Black family and the food and the culture. And I think, yeah, I would be totally different for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And Marcus, anything you have to?
I mean, I would definitely still be a big nerd. I'm always a nerd. I'm like a goofball. But here's the thing, like I'm also there. Those are candy canes from Christmas. trees, so
It looked
I'm like
great.
just letting you all know there's candy canes in the background. Um, but yeah, you know what? It's one of those things where I really didn't. I if I knew that, yes, it would have been different. But at the same time, I didn't know the difference. Like I thought I was just a white person. Like that's what I thought. Like I grew up with all white people, so I thought I was a white person. I had no recollection of any kind of Asian food, any kind of Asian. And the one I did have a friend in high school, and her name was Nina Pak, and she was South Korean too. And I went to her house once, and I remember her mom being so strict and so uh,
Mhm.
just opposite of what I was used to with my family,
Mhm.
and I'm my white upbringing, and you know, I remember the first time, when you're in high school, you don't really you're experimenting with everything. You like don't know anything. You're just like you're always confused. You're always like, what's going on? And my mom, or Nina's mom, I remember she pulled out kimchi from her those refrigerators, and I remember the first time I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, what is that smell? Like I had no idea. I never smelled
Oh,
it before. I didn't know whatever. And Nina's like, oh, it's kimchi. Like it's like like Korean people eat it all the time. And I was like, I was like, and then I got in my car and went to like Little Caesars and got a pizza and just like
oh my
I
God.
had no idea. But yeah, it was just it's very eye-opening when you don't know any different. And of course, if I grew up with a different family and my original Asian family, I think that a lot of things would be different. I couldn't tell you what those things would be, but it would. I just know from what I saw with Nina's family, they're very, and I think that's where because you can't change your genetics, and um, I'm a very organized OCD person. Like I think I would have fit well with like a family like that because sometimes my mom, she's a little too she sometimes lets me do whatever I want to, and like sometimes I'm like I need like Nina's mom was so great at like she would always be like, Marcus, make sure you do your homework, make sure you do this, and make sure and like she actually helped me a lot in high school. So yeah, it's a very different way of living, and I could not ask for a better mom and dad. um I I'm just a very lucky person.
I think what's interesting now that I think about it is for me, it's kind of the complete opposite where it's like I did grow up in an Asian family and then I go into my white friends' houses and then I see it's completely different.
Right. Like, what kind of, like, do you see the differences? Like,
I mean,
in what
like
way?
the moms, like they just kind of like leave us alone or like give us just regular food. Whereas like my mom would give us like all these snacks and like always be involved and like always there. Whereas like I go to my one friend Addie's house and we literally just like do kind of whatever. Like she has so many animals, always like hanging out with the chickens and things. Uh, there are a lot of people that are like into like kind of the country vibe in my city. So like there's a lot of that, like horses everywhere. And just like, how like, casseroles or whatever, like that kind of stuff that you
Love
just would never
casseroles.
see in an Asian family.
Yes.
Like, I mean, for me, my grandma, like her signature dishes are all like noodles or like, shrimp or things like that. Whereas like you go to other places and you're like, wait a minute, this is a little bit different than I'm used to. But I mean, that's okay. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
cool because it's like we're all different and that's fine.
Experience different things, and that's like the best part of life.
And something I wanted to ask you about was since I am, I haven't performed a lot, but I'm like trying to, like now that we're kind of
Yeah.
easing into like normal life, I'm doing more performances and things and trying to, get where you guys are someday. And I just wanted to ask you, like, did you, while like going into the business of theater, like was there like discrimination and kind of racism when you were auditioning or in a show that you've been in? And if so, like, did you just kind of disassociate yourself from those projects after you were done or kind of just anything like that? Because I mean, like for me, it's like you think about it, you're like, would a director treat me differently than someone else because they're white and I'm Asian? Or like, just be like, oh, we need diversity. So here you go. Like,
Right.
Mm.
I think, well, Asia and I are very super lucky with Mean Girls right now. Like Tina Fey and Casey Nicola and the entire creative team have gone out of their way to make sure every single person is comfortable in their track. Asia knows this too. Like her boo Kibir plays Kevin G right now, and I'm one of his understudies. So whenever he's out, I go on for him, and Tina made sure to email the entire team and make sure that when I go on, my original name for Kevin G is authentic Korean. She wanted to make sure, she asked me like where I was from, she asked me what my background was, and it was just a really cool thing, and we're really taken care of in that sense. But to answer your first question, yes, in the last like 10 or 12 years, I did the Anything Goes show with Kathleen Marshall that was Roundabout. And, that like roles like that, they're very dated. They can be considered a little racist if it's approached with a director that wants to make it that way or portray it that way. But, with shows like that, you have like Kathleen Marshall who won the Tony Award for it. And she came from a place of, I want these characters to be real. I don't want them to be caricatures. I don't want them to be stereotypes. And she sat down with me and Vincent Rodriguez, who is my brother on it, and he's like the lead on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And she sat down with both of them and she was like, I don't want you guys to go on stage, do the Asian accent. I don't want you, that's not what I want. I want these characters to come from a historic place and to be real people on stage. And I think that's moving forward. I think that's those are the type of people that you want to align yourself with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in Asia, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I've never really had a bad experience and within like the theater realm when it comes to like getting cast and stuff, but I know that there's like specific casting that calls for an Asian woman or something, and it doesn't really specifically say Japanese, Vietnamese, Korean, all that stuff. And like Sophie Kawachi is Japanese, and Riza, who plays her on Mean Girls Broadway, she is from Japan, and which is amazing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like casting another Asian girl, it's just going to be Asian. It doesn't specifically say which Asian where
Yeah,
you
I
come
know what
from.
you mean.
Yeah, so yeah, but I've never really had, an experience like that yet with, a bad
Um,
experience. I've only had positive experiences.
yeah,
So
that's great that you haven't had too like any real negative ones. That's a
right.
blessing because like what was I gonna say? I mean, I've had some bad experience, like a few little like with school shows, like minuscule, where it's just like the casting is just not right. Like, and how
Mm,
do you guys think there's like a way that we can like face kind of the exclusion at school? Because in the most recent show I did, it was like a bunch of different numbers from different like shows. It was just like a review show. And there were white students being cast as like the specifically people of color roles. Kind of in like the different songs or like characters that they were being cast as were like, kind of geared towards people of color, like, Hamilton or Rent, where Rent is like one of the more diverse shows. And it was just really like disappointing, I guess, because I was kind of like,
mm,
oh, okay, great. And then I couldn't do anything about it. Because
mm.
people would get mad or like it would escalate quickly probably. And then, I'd be hated for the rest of my career there. Like, do you guys have any kind of advice or or ways that, we can kind of voice our opinions, but not like be like, hey, this is wrong, stop doing this, but kind of like slip it in there a little bit more.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you is that you're in high school.
Yeah, I'm currently a
Oh my
sophomore.
gosh, you are amazing. I can't even believe I'm seeing like these beautiful faces. I can't believe that like you guys are this young and so ambitious. This is amazing. You're doing more than I even did up until last week.
Oh.
But like you guys are all awesome. I mean, every Mean Girls person that's come along is just awesome and so just integrity and just so driven. It's awesome to see. What I'm going to tell you is high school is like a different beast, and I know
Yes.
right now it's a beast, and it's something that while you're there it feels like you're the end of the world. Like if something doesn't happen, and I'm gonna just give an example. They were doing Peter Pan my senior year and I wanted to be John, like, and they had an all white, of course, family. They were like, Wendy was white,
Mhm.
Michael, that guy cast, was white, Peter Pan was white. And I remember being like, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get John, and I'm gonna like get to fly on stage. I was gonna be, and it went to another white kid, and
Mhm.
you know, uh, it's one of those. And I went home, and I like remember like being like, Mom, I was like, this is the worst. I was like, I was so talented, like all this stuff. You cry, you let it out. But at the end of the day, I know for people that are in high school, and it's the worst to hear people say this, but with all your talent that you have, even like having this whole podcast, like having this whole thing right now, like you are going places, and it sucks because sometimes in high school and in college even, and in the real world,
Mhm.
um, things that's going to happen. And what you can do that I learned is just to start the conversation, because nothing's going to happen probably right away. But if you
Yeah.
can be the person that 10 years down the road, somebody comes to your high school and is in your exact spot, and let's say you planted that seed with the people that are in charge there, and you don't need to go in there confrontational, you don't need to go in there yelling, you just need to plant the seed and be like, listen, so I felt this way. If you start any sense with I felt,
Mhm.
that that cannot go wrong, because it's not accusatory, it's not anything. You can just be like, hey, I felt like this was an opportunity for me, and to plant that seed, and so people can start having a conversation where it grows and grows and grows.
Mhm.
And like right now on Broadway, they're doing that right now.
Mhm.
There's a whole movement right now, with the pandemic was of course tragic and horrible, but now Broadway, with this whole break, people have made the movement and started the conversation to open Broadway up to be a wider span for people of color, like it should be and it should have always been.
Yeah.
But it took this break to wake people up, and that's what you need to do in high school. It might, you might not get cast as something before you graduate, but if you plant that seed and start that conversation for people, you will be helping a whole generation of people coming up after that.
Yeah, definitely. You're kind of like frozen just a little bit. I think your video, I don't know if it's my like my Wi-Fi.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we're okay. And Asia, did you have some like, something you wanted to say about that topic? Oh,
Sorry, you're cracking out.
sorry. I said, did you have anything you wanted to say on that topic? Oh,
No, I think everything that Marcus said is what you should do. You should go in there with in it with love and not hate, obviously, because if you go in there and you blast them and you spew all this stuff, it's like they're not going to listen, they're just going to shut down.
yeah.
But if you go in there with an open heart, and you are vulnerable with them, that's the best way possible that you can do it. And I truly believe that people will listen to you when you come in it with open arms instead of with hate. So yeah.
Yeah. And then like speaking about Mean Girls, kind of like, since obviously both your characters, I mean, for Marcus at least, like covering Kevin G, like, it's kind of specifically like a personal, like an Asian person of, like, is there something with your own experiences that you kind of incorporated into the roles? Because I mean, obviously Sophie is Japanese, but you're Korean, like, or did like you kind of change the role for the tour? Because Marcus, I think you said something about like with Kevin G changing it a bit. Like, what are the things that you kind of like altered or changed? Because obviously you're not Kabir or
I'm not.
Broadway.
What? I thought I was Asia's boyfriend. Oh my god. What? Okay. No, but yeah, I as I said, I didn't really have to do much. It was really just the creative team that really stepped up to plate, and they changed the script for me. They changed my name, which I can't even pronounce to you right now because I haven't been with the show for a year and a half. We haven't been there for a year and a half. So I kind of forgot it. But it's been just a great, again, they just really, really, they really cater to every person's specific background. And I think that's a great thing. I think that, and they're really working to improve it even more now. Like they're with the show coming back and like, we're going to be bigger, better than ever. And it's going to be awesome. I think we're going to see some new faces. I think that there's going to be, we'll all like everyone will be back, but I think that they'll be adding a couple more people just to make sure everything's covered from here on out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, Mean Girls has been a really great place to work. It's been a great support system to have. Really.
Yeah, it's like it seems like a dream show. Everything about it is so cool. And I was always like, every time like someone went on or things, I would like try to post about it, be like, this person made their debut.
I love that. I love that. That's good support.
Asia, do you want to talk about like kind of Sophie and anything about your character?
Yeah, not typically, but she I just made her Sophie Kawachi. I didn't, really make her like a Japanese girl or anything like that. It was just Sophie Kawachi, just a bubbly little girl in high school, yeah, nothing specific. Yeah, nothing too specific when it comes to her being Japanese, but I just wanted to kind of open it up and just have her be a fun person, yeah, so yeah.
Did you, I know that Riza likes to make paper cranes on stage, like is there something?
I see that, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so cool.
Yeah, I know, it's so cool. She does like origami and stuff, but I actually just like write notes and pass them to Kabir on stage. And I pass them to Marcus sometimes, and like, yeah, we
pass
just
them to me too.
Yeah, we just
don't leave Marcus out of this.
Yeah.
And then Ali, I think it's Aaliyah says, can you ask Asia how she deals with self-doubt and not like feeling like you're not good enough? Because Asian judgment is everywhere, sadly. And then for Marcus, they said, can you also ask Marcus about doing high school theater and how it was? So I guess Asia, you can answer the first question, and then Marcus will answer the other one.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? It kind of like cut out a little
Oh,
bit. Sorry.
sorry.
You're
Can
good.
you ask Asia how she deals with self-doubt and feeling like she's not good enough? Sorry, there's somebody opening the door.
Yeah.
I don't know what that noise is.
Dealing with self-doubt and yeah, how I deal with self-doubt. I kind of just pep myself up, give myself a little self-affirmation, telling myself that I am worthy of this. I'm loved.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's how I deal with it. I try to not think too much of the negative, instead of think of the positives. Because if you're solely thinking about the negatives, that's going to drive, your self-esteem down, your self-doubt down. So I really try to give myself those loving affirmations, especially in the morning, actually. Yeah, just telling myself good things, positive things about myself, to not get myself too down about the day, and to really get going. Especially like in an audition or something, I try really, it's all about positivity. It's all about going in there and just doing your best, and truly not thinking about the negative. And I know it's easier said than done, but it comes with practice too, to just keep telling yourself that. So yeah.
And then Marcus, do you want to answer that other question?
Yes, of course. But also on top of Asia, what she just said, she's actually the one that peps me up when I go on before It Roars, because It Roars is the first song in the show. And whenever I'm on, I'm always usually like, I need like 10 cups of coffee before I even like get to the theater. And then like, and then like we're stretching backstage, and It Roars is about to start. And I'm always like, oh, I'm so tired. And Asia's like, come on, man. She's like, get your Demeter up. And I'm like, so, and then I go out for It Roars, and I'm like, yeah. But yeah, the question for high school, right? Yeah. Yes, as I said, it's not, high school will always have weird times. They will have weird casting decisions, and you know what? All you can do is improve yourself. And what you can do in high school when you don't get those roles, and when you don't get the roles in college, that's what I did. I never got roles in college either. And I kept going, and you just keep going to classes. You improve on everything you can. Take classes that you've never imagined before. Like, name one thing that you are not talented at right now, because you guys are all so young and gorgeous and full of life that you guys can do all this. I'm looking at your faces. You can go and do something you can't do. Like, ask yourself, be like, what am I not good at? Maybe you're not good at playing the piano. Maybe you're not good at ballet. Maybe you're not good at, singing. Go take those classes, because when you get to New York City, which is the only place that counts, college still does not count. Yes, you want to get into a good college. Yes, you want to get good training. However, college is not the end all be all. The end all be all is moving to New York City, being a good person, being talented, where you picked up enough knowledge along the way to make yourself in a position where you can go into a role and nail it. Like, do that stuff for yourself in high school and throughout college. That's my advice. That's my gravy train. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. And then the next question I had was, do you feel as though you are seen as kind of like the model minority stereotype? And if so, how do you kind of combat those ideas? Because I know I definitely deal with that daily, being Asian, oh, you're smart, or you have glasses, you're smart. And it's just kind of okay. And then it's if you don't perform up to that standard, it's as if you failed, whereas most people are held to the lower standard. And when they do well, they're, praised, or something like that, instead of being oh, you didn't do as well as you usually do,
I kind of kicked that door down, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna just be that person. I'm not gonna just be put in this one box, and so obviously for Mean Girls, I was wanting Sophie Kawachi and everything, because she's an amazing role and I love her so much. And but for like the other things and for like life and stuff, I like pushed that door down, and I was like, if somebody would tell me that, being like, oh, you're Asian, you must be so smart, like you said, I would just be like, no, actually, like this and this and this. And I would kind of just like lay it down to them and be like, well, I'm not, just because I'm Asian doesn't mean that, that I'm smart. I am smart, but it doesn't mean,
Yes.
that doesn't, yeah. So I kind of just kept fighting the good fight, really, and just really standing up for myself, if that makes any sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Marcus?
I mean, I am definitely not smart. Like I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Book smart is not my thing. I'm very street smart, which is different. You know what I mean? Like in
Yeah.
school, I again, like I like having fun. I am a big, just goofy goofball. And grades were never my thing. But so, that stereotype already went out the window a long time ago. But I also, I like being a model minority in different ways. You know what I mean? I want to change the definition of model minority. I want it to
Yeah.
be somebody who can be like me and want to be a good role model for people other than grades, other than this, that you get taught growing up. Like you need to be this. No, you don't need to be. Like you can be outside the box, you can be special, and you can be different, and that's a good thing. And that's how I want to be a model minority. Like I want to be like that, instead of book smart, this smart. You should always whatever, like wear this, do that. Like you'll never see me in a shirt. I only wear tank tops. Like I just
Only
like
wear tank tops. Only tank tops.
I only wear tank tops. Yeah, it's one of those things where everyone should be their own person, and that should be what that model of you should be. Like that's how everyone should be for themselves.
Yes, that's a
Mhm.
great answer. Great. And I kind of wanted to ask you as like, what is like an experience with racism that you have faced that just made you a stronger person today? Like that you kind of took it in, like processed it, and then just said like, okay, I'm not gonna let this define me and not let it bring me down. Either of you guys can go first, whoever has, I guess, a story or
You. Oh. So I actually, a couple weeks ago, was told that I should change my name. So yeah, and this was through the arts. And this wasn't in Mean Girls, just full disclosure, this was not in Mean Girls at all. They're amazing. Wasn't Mean Girls at all. And yeah, so I was told to change my name because I need to look, my name doesn't look Asian enough. My name does not, like Asian Marie Kreitz does not look Asian enough. You don't, that you only look Asian, you don't look mixed, and all this stuff. I was told that. And yeah, that really hurt, that really stung. And I am a stronger person. I stood up for myself through that situation, but I'm also going to continue to stand up through that situation as well. Yeah, so that just kind of it knocked me down a little bit. And yeah, but I'm definitely stronger. And I told them, no, I'm not going to do that, because the name that I was given, that is, I'm adopted, so that is my adopted name. I'm not going to change it to look more Asian or anything. I've done well for myself given that name, and it's a different name. It's Asia Marie Kreitz. Also, my name is Asia, so it stands out. I don't think that I have to change it, and yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't change it because it's a beautiful name. It's like it's very unique,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Marcus.
I think I already said that one story, like that was on my Instagram, but the other story that like comes to mind was I was just playing Pepper in Mamma Mia at in Florida, And I left the stage door, and people were like there to like, you were there to like sign some stuff. And this guy came up to me with his playbill, and he was like, hey, he was like, so my girlfriend was wondering if you could sign this for her. He was like, you were the Oriental guy on stage, right? And I was like, oh, I was like, buddy, I was like, yes, I was. It's one of those things where like, you know, and I think that's a good lesson. If you're in places like that, and especially in theater, you guys are going to be meeting. Because how many here want to go into theater? Like, you guys want to do theater for like a living, or you guys just like here to like? It's one of those things where you need to like expand your horizon, because we're being on tour, you meet so many different people. Like you go from Alabama to California to New York to Washington. You know, and you got to look at your audience and just really have understanding, because that guy was the nicest guy. He had no malice in his voice at all. He was just a little ignorant, and I think ignorance is a main driving problem still in today's culture, where people just never knew any better or don't know any better, which is not an excuse at all. Please don't make that what I'm saying. It's they need to, people need to teach them. And it's hard to understand how to teach them, because it takes one person to like reach out to one person, you know, to reach out to another person. It's a chain reaction to finally, you know, hopefully in 10 or 20 years from now, nobody will be going up to somebody being like, hey, were you that Oriental kid? You know what I mean? So yeah, it is important, like, to go and talk to your one friend that might still say those things and explain. And that's what I was talking about, Ashley, with your high school. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it takes one person to go up to somebody and be like, I felt like this should have been it should have been a POC because this and this reason, just to get that ball rolling, so that down the line, more generations don't have to go through that.
Yeah, that's definitely like a great solution. I guess not like perfect solution, obviously, like these people could be like, no.
Right. They
But
absolutely
it's
can.
something that is definitely something I will keep in use in the future. And I guess for you guys, like, what is one specific thing that our allies and friends can start doing differently so that they don't hurt Asian Americans? Like, I guess kind of specifically saying like, oh, I don't see color, or oh, I just love everybody regardless. Where it's like, oh, okay, then you're not seeing me and you're not seeing who I am if you're ignoring that. And also it's like, also like I read articles, it's like kindness doesn't solve racism. Like it doesn't. It's mostly like a lot of, you know, systems that need to be changed. Like kindness is kind of just like the tip of the iceberg, where it's like be nicer to people, but also it's like there's a lot of things that have to change in the country that we're in. And just like, is there just kind of one specific
Oh
thing
no.
that you see over and over again that just kind of, I guess, needs to be kind of fixed in people's minds? Like oh, Marcus, you want to go first, or?
Yeah, Marcus, you.
I think for this, it's one of those things where people every day are getting their eyes opened more and more to the situations that are happening with people of color. If you look back even from before this pandemic started, so much stuff has been called out, and so much you know, so much behavior has been called out, where it's I can't even tell you how much support I have gotten even in the last year, since, you know, all the Asian attacks have happened, because people were running around saying it's a China virus, it's a China virus, it's a China virus.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the last year, there's been over 7,000 like attacks on Asian people, like attacks that were meant to, like, they wanted to hurt people. And that's just, that number already is insane, but it's also just unacceptable. And it's starting from the top. You know, you have to, people that have a platform need to raise their voice. They need to talk about violence that are happening to not only Asian people, to everyone. And that's your job. That's your
Duty as a
yeah,
citizen, you know, like,
just like that's your duty. Exactly. Your duty is to do that. So I myself have been very, very lucky with all my friends. I can't even tell you the love and support I've even gotten from even posting that story on Instagram. I think people are finally coming around and being like, oh my gosh, I'm living in a position of privilege. And now they're realizing they're privileged because it's being called out. And, you
Yeah.
know, it takes one person to call somebody out and they just, but to explain why they're being called out and why this is hurtful to a group of people. And I think people, you know, not everyone clearly, but people are opening their eyes and trying and finally figuring that out.
Hmm. Yes, definitely. Asia, like,
I mean, everything what he said was well said, and everything in that is true. Yeah, I just feel like the vernacular needs to change as well. And you know, if somebody says something, obviously, you know, go in it with love and tell them, hey, that's not okay. So I think it starts with yourself, you know, and your words that you choose to say to somebody, you know, a POC, and yeah, I just it starts with that. And yeah, so I think everyone should be held accountable. I think, you know, you should hold your friends accountable, hold yourself accountable, especially.
mhm.
Yeah, so
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I
Um,
just saw L, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so L, yeah, like Legally Blonde.
I
That's another show that is like a dream to want to do someday.
Oh yeah,
Just randomly,
definitely.
just randomly in this conversation, like, oh yes, Legally Blonde. And I wanted to, going back, kind of ask, like, through the pandemic, like, did once it started, or like when it was kind of, you know, still snowballing into what it's become, like, did you kind of see a little bit of a surge of like racism that, like, you know, was just kind of day to day? Because I know I definitely experienced a little bit more. And then also, like, with the support part, it's like, Marcus, you said that you've experienced, like, had a lot of support, whereas like for me, I'm in a mostly white town. Like, there are a lot of like Asian people, but nowhere compared to like the population of white people. And it's like I haven't had that same kind of support system, I guess, where it's like I've gotten a few
Right.
friends kind of like being like, I'm sorry this is happening, like, I, you know, I'm standing with you. Just like I've just gotten a few messages. One friend was like, I love you. I'm like, oh thanks. It's like they didn't really specifically say it, but I was like, okay, thank you. Like, and like, did have you guys just kind of um I guess experienced more? Because I know people were definitely saying like, oh, COVID, like, you know, Chinese people, like at school, and like, you know, just saying all that awful stuff. I think
Right.
I think
Uh,
Asia had to leave because she was frozen.
oh no. Okay. Well, oh, okay. There she is. Um, so what I'm gonna tell you too is also like I have lived through all this and growing up in a smaller town like you are, like it sounds like that you don't have a lot of support systems to lift you up, to sympathize with, or to, you know, help the group that you feel marginalized by. You know what I mean? Like you need to know that you just need to know this in your heart of hearts. There are so many people. And the only reason I have such a big support system is because I've been doing this for a while. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
moved to New York City 10 years ago. I have so many friends that are just, they become my family. And you will have that too. Like it takes when I was in high school, I would have been the same. I grew up in Novi. You know, and if this all was happening then, I would have been lost too. I would not lost, but like I would have been like, oh my gosh, I would have felt very unsupported. And you just need to know that once you get out of there, once you go to your next step, you are going to keep building and building and building and building this family. And, you know, in 10 years you're going to have this huge family that is, you know, Mean Girls like just happened and I already consider all of them my family, and they, you know, they like, I'm just like adding them to my group of friends. It's just amazing because like I call Asia probably like what, twice a week, or like we FaceTime like 2 times, like with Kabir. I you They just become your family, and they're your new support system. So if when you're in high school like that, please just know that you have such a support system. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to Asia, you can reach out to anybody, and they will literally be there for you. It's just right now you don't have those connections, but you will find them.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And Asia, did you want to say anything about that kind of?
Can you, sorry, it like cut out whenever you were asking the question, and then I came back in whenever Marcus was talking.
I was asking kind of like, did you encounter like more racism, or like about your support systems? Like, did you feel like there was kind of more of a surge in your own personal life? Because I mean, obviously people, yelling at other people, or like, saying not so nice stuff, or like kind of all that thing.
I was more, I think if I was more out and about, I would get that hate. But, since the pandemic and stuff, I was really closed up and bottled up and stuff in my house. But I would see it on social media and my heart would hurt. And I would, send out my support to those people who were hurting. So I didn't get too much hate just because I wasn't like going out or putting myself out there, I guess, if that makes any sense. And obviously people who do go out and do put themselves out there, the hate that they get is not okay at all by any means. But yeah, I did feel like I did have a support system. I could go to Kabir, could go to my parents. My parents were concerned for me, whenever I was in New York and all that Asian hate was going on, with the Asian women that were being attacked and stuff. And they would call me and be like, hey, are you okay? I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're not walking alone. And so, so I did have a good support system when it comes to that. So, yeah.
Great. And then I also wanted to ask you guys, like, with kind of the shows that are more geared towards Asian people, I guess, like Miss Saigon or like The King and I, those kinds of shows, like kind of what are your stance on those? Because for me, I'm Taiwanese. I am not, like, I would not feel right playing a role in The King and I, or like Miss Saigon, like definitely not. Like, but it's like people just see these shows like, oh, these are the Asian shows, like those are the ones you would do, but it's like, not really, like it's not quite the same, because it's not the same, like I don't have that connection to that, like those places or those experiences as much. And just kind of like, how do you guys feel about those types of shows? Because I know, Marcus, you're friends with like Ashley Park, and Ashley was on in The King and I, and then obviously Mean Girls, and kind of like, but like, how do you kind of see those shows? I'm just kind of interested to know.
I did the Lincoln Center's King and I did the workshop, and I did the tour with Bart Shear, and it's one of those things where, yes, the story itself and Miss Saigon story, both of those stories are problematic. They're problematic shows, especially in the day and age that we're living. However, I will say on top of that, so Bart, Kelly O'Hara won the Tony for it. She was amazing. But the thing is that Bart Shear, he Tony-winning director as well, like he is the most brilliant man I've ever met in my life. And he sat there just as much as Kathleen Marshall did with me with Anything Goes, and made the story real and authentic. He again wanted no stereotypes. He didn't want us going on stage and doing this and bowing and being like making up fake Asian words to have crowd. Like we're being like, and it was just, him in itself is just a masterclass of how a director should be. And, it won Best Revive. It's an amazing thing when directors put love and care into a piece of work that they're doing, opposed to other directors that just want to make a quick buck and throw you into a regional production of, not saying regional productions will do this, but I'm saying, anyone can do it. A director on Broadway could do it. Like if they just want to throw you in and be like, okay, now bow and do this and be Asian. I've had like 10 shows tell me to be Asian in the past, like being like, what are you doing in the ensemble? Be Asian, be more Asian. I'm like, what does be more Asian mean? Like, what, I'm adopted. Like, my idea of Asian is like eating McDonald's fries while watching like Rugrats. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I'm just like, I'm just like, when directors say be more Asian, it's one of those things where you can be like, this is not it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I think in that realm, again, actors, when you come across directors like that, you need to go and you need to open up a conversation with them, even if they don't want to hear it, even if they're hard-headed, even if they get mad at you, even if they, fire you from the job. It's important for people to come.
Yeah, definitely. In Asia, do you wanna?
I've actually done The King and I when I was like younger. And but they didn't do it all Asian
Oh.
people.
Ooh.
So
Uh,
yeah, so that hurt a lot, and looking back it hurts, and I know that people are still doing that.
yeah.
So I guess when it comes to that, obviously don't do it if you don't have the people, if you don't have the right people to do it. Obviously don't do it. I don't think
Yeah.
it's the best idea to do that. Especially to put like lines on your face to make you look more Asian and all that
Ooh.
stuff. So yeah, but yeah, that's the one thing that, yeah, but that's, yeah, I would love to do Miss Saigon, and be a part of that show. And again, growing up with white parents and stuff, it, like Marcus said, it, I don't have the connection, as well. I have like some, just a little bit, just from, what my aunt, my birth mom have taught me just here and there, but that's about it. And yeah, just, I am Asia, I'm, yes, I am, Black and Korean, but it's also like I'm a person as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to that, it's, yeah. So
I know what the whole don't do the show thing. I think Eli did like when he was little, like they had wherever he was, it was like an all white production of like Hairspray or something. Like just not okay. Like please don't. And then I was also talking to like Olivia Kaufman from the Broadway production, and she said like they did Mulan, I think, and like there were what, like 2 Asian girls like in that area, and they like didn't get cast at all or something, and like in like so they had just like a white girl playing Mulan. It's like, oh
what?
no.
Like, yeah, no.
It's all this kind of stuff. It's like, please don't, like just do the more neutral shows.
There's
Like
so
the
many, there's so
girls.
many shows out there to do
Yeah.
those instead. Like, yeah, so
Yeah. And I also wanted to ask you guys, since you guys are kind of more in the loop than we are as fans, like, do you see kind of more things happening with Broadway stepping towards being more inclusive and diverse? And obviously, diverse does not mean like you're including everyone, where it's like we want to be in the rooms where they're talking about stuff and like the casting. But like, are you seeing the steps happening to more of that, like diversity and inclusion? Um,
Oh, sorry, you were breaking up a little bit.
come on, Wi-Fi. I was saying, like, are you seeing kind of with Broadway, like the steps being taken to being more inclusive and diverse, like kind of stuff that we wouldn't see as much, since we are not kind of in shows or like, in the Broadway community?
That's a very interesting question. And I think the only answer to that is we will see.
Mm-hmm.
I think people, amazing people, I have amazing friends that have really, really started this revolution over the break, and they have laid down the groundwork, the hard groundwork that it took to even start this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see where it goes from here. I have no idea. I'm hoping that things change because they need to. It's been a very, it's hard. It's hard when you go to a place like New York and you already have, I don't know, like 2,000 kids you're going up against. It's hard. So you really, really hope that they will open up their horizons to and open their eyes to see. And again, the directors I've worked with have all done that, so I can't speak on that because they've all been amazing. but just for other shows too. I hope they do. And if they don't, we just have to, as artists, keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and because otherwise nothing will change.
Yeah, definitely. Asia?
Yeah, like Marcus said, it's still in the beginning, works of it, and they have done a lot so far. And so it's exciting to see that change, and the beginning stages of it, and see where, it goes. And hopefully it's very positive, and it is positive, the work that they're doing. I just, hope that it's continued to be carried in that light. Yeah.
And also, like, I wanted to know, like, who are some of your favorite Asian American performers? Because obviously you guys are some of mine. And like, do you guys have those people that you kind of like love to follow, or like love to go see them in person, or like hang out with them at a show or something like that?
Asia, you go first.
Marcus. What?
Asia, you go first.
People who I like to see, Leah Salonga is top for me. Even though Blanzada is freaking stellar, like she's killer. Those are, I think, the top. And Ashley Park, of course. And,
Yes, our queen.
oh yes, of course. So yeah, and I'm actually in the beginning stages too, kind of building the community that I have as well, in New York and stuff, because I actually haven't like technically lived there yet. Because I was
doing an amazing job at it.
Thanks. So yeah, just hopefully to continue to build that. Yeah.
And Marcus, who are some of your favorite Asian American performers?
I mean, it's weird. I've been in New York for 10 years, so I pretty much know everyone. You know what I mean? That I want to. I'm all my friends are so talented. They're all talented. I mean, the ones that I looked up to growing up were probably this guy named Darren Lee. He was in the Chicago movie, and he's done every Broadway show under the sun. And he was the first dancer. He won the Broadway Legacy robe like 4 times over again. And I just remember, I remember looking at him in Chicago, the movie, and just being like, I want to be like that guy. And now I have done so many shows with him. He's like my mentor. Like Leah Salonga commented on my status 2 days ago. Like, it was just one of those things where like,
Oh no.
I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I'm just so blessed. Like, I got to meet all my idols, the Asian idols. So it's really cool.
I think one of the people that is like that for me, where it's like that with the whole social media stuff, is Ashley Park. Because I did a post for her on my page, like an appreciation post or something, and like she liked it and commented, and I was just like freaking out.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Yeah, she's
that was
Freaking
amazing.
out. And then I obviously with Marcus, you like to recreate all of her outfits. I don't know if you guys have seen on his Instagram, but it's incredible. I loved like talking about them with everybody. And they're just like, I don't know if I'm cutting out, but they're amazing. And please keep doing them.
I actually just got done yesterday with the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, I will have to wait.
Yeah, so the next one's going up tomorrow, so it's gonna be amazing.
Yay! And like also, do you have any favorite like AAPI movies, musicals, or playwrights that you just absolutely adore?
Oh my gosh, David Henry Hwang is like a god. I love him.
I think I got to meet him at like the Amundsen Theater, like in LA.
Awesome.
I think I saw, was it Soft Power there?
Yes.
And it was like very cool.
He is an amazing man. I got to work with him in Tarzan at North Shore, and he's just the best man. I love him. Everything about him.
Asia?
I don't think I have a favorite one, honestly. Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I'm just like, I don't think I can choose.
And I guess like a funny question that my mom helped me make up was like, since you both are Korean, have you guys had like the Korean instant ramen, like that you can find at like the grocery store?
No, what?
I have.
There is this one. It's like,
Wait. Is it like, are you saying like actual like ramen that you get like from a restaurant or something, and like you?
Oh no, like there's this one Korean ramen that's like ridiculously spicy, but it's so good.
I
And
think
it's
I've
like
heard of it.
carbonara.
I
Okay,
think I've
well,
heard
you
of it.
guys have to go try it now because I was
I
like,
can't do
try it.
spicy.
Let's try it though, Marcus. Here, we'll send you a
We'll
video.
try it and send you a
Yeah.
video.
Yes.
You have to use the entire packet though, because like personally I don't, but it's probably funny for you. Because it's
He's
just
gonna
ridiculously
die. He's
spicy.
gonna die.
I'm gonna die. My nose
gonna
starts
die.
sweating so bad. Like my nose just like sweats when I eat anything spicy. But I'll try it and we'll send it to you.
It's like a pink packet. It has like a chicken on it or something. It's like you can
Okay.
find it.
I think
in,
I've
like,
seen
the
it.
Asian- Yeah, you can find it.
Asia,
in,
that's
like,
your
Asian-
job. You find it, Asia.
I'll send you guys a
Fine.
picture of
I
the
will.
packaging if I can find it.
All right. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
And then since I think we're a few minutes over, like kind of our little time zone, like time period, I don't know. Like I guess my last question is like, what is kind of a piece of advice that you have for a person of color, I guess like me, who wants to pursue a career in the arts just like you?
Oh, geez. I think my piece of advice for you and those people would be: do not get discouraged. Do not get discouraged. Do not get discouraged. I cannot say that enough. I already said, I never got cast in high school. I never got cast in college. And now I'm one of the 3 kids in my class that have been on Broadway. So you just need to never get discouraged. Do not wear, and this goes for everyone, but a lot of times it happens to POCs because, you know, it's a very big occurrence that happens a lot. So just don't ever look at a casting decision or anything. If you work backstage, if you're on crew, if you do this, if you don't get the job, never look at it as a personal attack. Just know that that was not for you. Push it aside and keep going. Do not get discouraged. That's it.
Yeah, that's a great advice. And then Asia.
Yeah, just keep going. Continue to improve on your talent and your craft. Improve to get better. And yeah, to just like break down those walls too, of just like being like, I am a POC, but I'm also a person. I can do this. I'm talented, and keep going with that. And keep working on your craft too. And just, yeah.
And also, one more thing is, what's so funny is the person I just said that is one of my idols, Darren Lee. He directed me my first Miss Saigon ever at Music Theater Wichita, and I saw him 3 years later, and I was in Miss Saigon at PCLO, Pittsburgh Civic Light Opera, and I saw him on the street, and I was like, oh, he's gonna be so proud of me. I'm doing Miss Saigon at PCLO now, and I was like, I saw him like in the front of my gym, and I was like, Darren, I was like, guess what? I was like, I'm doing Miss Saigon at PCLO now, and he was like, oh, great, and he was like, okay, so and I was like confused at first. I was like, oh, he's not proud of me or what? And then he goes, yeah. He's like, you need to get out of that show. He's like, push boundaries instead. And that was the best advice I ever got, was push boundaries. And he said that to me. And I was like, and then all of a sudden, because I just wanted to coast on Miss Saigon and King and I for the rest of my life. Just like, I just want to do Miss Saigon, King and I can keep doing that. And he pushed me. And then that's when I wouldn't be in Mean Girls right now if I wasn't pushing to keep going. You know what I mean? That's another piece of great advice that Asia brought up. Always push boundaries. Always do that.
Yes, definitely. I mean,
because you never know. Yeah, you never know what they're looking for too. Especially sometimes it's like, if you go in there and it's like, I'm here, and they love you and stuff, and they really weren't. That's not that was what they weren't going for, but it's like you could be their next, thing and their next person to cast and stuff, because
yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask, it's Paulina and Sarah, if you guys had any last minute questions, you can always ask, since we have kind of like a small little intimate group, and it's great. I really enjoyed it so much.
Paulina and Sarah.
So if there are any questions, like go ahead.
okay.
Wait, so what are the questions about? Can they just be about anything or just like about?
More specifically, I guess about like, I guess being Asian American, but I guess just kind of.
You can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
Yeah. How do y'all deal with like rejection and all? Because my sister auditions and she's had a couple rejections and all. How do y'all deal with that?
It kind of like fuels my fire, honestly, to just keep going. Really, don't
Yeah.
you know? Don't get defeated. Don't get discouraged. It's like another no, or like one no could be something like an open door. Like the next thing that you do could be the open door. So it's like that door closed, but another door, you know, can open type thing. So it's like I think you should think of it like that in a way.
I have a completely different advice. But no, that's very good advice. Keep that one. But also tell her to go pick up the biggest like Parmesan garlic pizza from anywhere, like scarf it down, get ice cream, eat it all, and then go back to the drawing board the next day. Like all that
Do
stuff,
that.
eat all the gross stuff you want to eat that night, cry into your pillow, yell at your mom, and then the next day put your big whatever pants on and go to the world and do it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
And then Paulina, I don't know if you have a question. If you don't, that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure, since you guys are these participants, and it's like you can ask all the questions you want, because it's like, you know, we are one of those places that's like it's more interactive, and it's not just the one where you pay for the Q&A and then you don't get to talk to anybody. And I guess I kind of asked the last question, but I just realized I had another one. Kind of like, how can we use our background to enrich our circle of influence? And how can we use our race or what might be construed as like a weakness to propel us forward? And sorry for the weird noises. I have no idea what's going on.
No, it's like, what is that? Sounds like a monster. Wait, I'm sorry. What was the last part? I missed it because
it said, how can we use our race or what might be construed as a weakness to propel us forward?
you know, I think that question answers itself a little bit. I think that being different this day and age in this business is a good thing. And you know, it's helped me a lot, actually. I remember for you know, being in Mean Girls, my final callback was for Casey Nicola, Tina Fey, the whole group, and I was the only Asian boy in the group, in my final group of 10 boys, and they all went in and sang their song. They had to sing 2 songs, and they all sang slow songs. They all went in, they were like singing their ballads, and I was like, you guys, this is Mean Girls. I was like, they don't want you coming in and singing a slow song. They want you to come in and be like funny and upbeat. So I went in and I sang like this goofy song that wasn't good for my voice that I cracked on. And Tina Fey and Casey Nicola laughed so hard, and I was just like, okay. And then Casey was like, see you soon. And I was like, bye. Like, I was just like, you know, you just like being different is good. And that's the whole thing. Like, you know, looking different, your race is always going to work for you. Be different, go into the room, be different. Don't try to do your hair like everyone else. This is another piece of advice. People hate me because I go into the room and I act crazy. Like, I will go up to a director and be like, what's up, work? Hey, oh my God. And like people, like other people go in there, like, they're like, hi, my name is blah blah, and I'm blah blah, and I'm from blah 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 boring blah. And I'm like, okay. And then like I go into the room and I'm like, oh my God, hey guys, what are you doing? Do you guys like whatever? They love it. Like, so just be different. Use your different.
Yes.
Use your personality to your advantage. Like that's such an advantage to show them your personality right off the bat. Because they love that. They don't want, you know, they're there to have a good time too, you know, and if you come in there all quiet and stuff. Actually, I did go in there a little bit quiet, but I guess that wasn't my favorite. I don't know, but
yeah, they like they're sitting there for 3 days in a row for 12 hours plus, seeing person after person after person after person come in and be like, hi, my name is Maxwell, and I'm going to be singing Phantom of the Opera. No, like walk in there and be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it's such a, they're enjoyed to see that they're like, yes, somebody with energy. And like,
That's like it's a breath of fresh air for them, because it's like you said, you've seen these so many people, you know, and then when you come in and you kind of like wake them up and you're like, oh wow, hello, like
right.
who are you? You know, I want to get to know you. I want to know you. So yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for your great advice. I think we will end our conversation there. Thank you, Sarah and Paulina, for coming.
Yes,
I
thank you
really,
guys.
this was like one of the coolest experiences ever. And if Marcus and Asia can just stay for like a few minutes afterwards, just to kind of recoup and like kind of review everything, that'll be great. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
And I hope you guys can come to any
Bye.
future events.
Awesome. See you guys.
See you. Bye.